on this computer. There we go. And we go live. And we're live and we're talking. And hopefully at some point a change will come, my friend, because this is getting to be bullshit. It was really difficult to watch Doc Rivers today because, I mean, he's had to give that same damn speech too many times.
Over and over and over again.
And over again. And it's just crazy. Get this portion going, send us out to the world, hopefully.
I'm looking.
And I tell you, I know it sounds crazy, but I was thinking today we're actually missing out on Steve Kerr in the bubble, because Golden State didn't make it to the bubble. But man, he seems to have good words, and
all the time.
Him and Popovich just seem to get it. And one thing I have noticed is that these the majority of the NBA coaches, or every NBA coach I've heard speak, is in solidarity with this whole thing. And other leagues have been hesitant to speak out. I'm glad they are now, but it's happening. So, hey everybody, welcome to Wednesday. Obviously, and Evan and I already got plenty on our mind, and are just jumping right into it. So, glad you're out there joining us, and appreciate you being here. Evan and Aaron Show. I'm Evan. This is my why do I always do that? I'm Aaron. This is my buddy.
No, that's fine. I'm your brother. I'm your buddy. I am Evan. Evan Casey, the Evan part of this show. Aaron, brother, love you, man.
Love you. So let's just jump right in. I mean, there's no way to avoid this topic anymore. I think we were going to dance around it a little bit, but the shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the other night has led to a lot of protest. People talk about violent protests, but the violence was, a militia kid, 17-year-old kid, brandishing a gun and walking down the street, killing two people, shot a third person who's going to lose his arm probably from the elbow down. Was allowed to walk free for a while, and there's some speculation that the police were actually working in harmony with that militia group, funneling people. Maybe this dude went a little too far, but I mean, it's kind of what happens. I mean, militia is not deputized to do that, as far as I'm concerned, despite what Westerns want to teach us. But this is crazy. And in the wake of that, we've got the Milwaukee Bucks making a decision, I believe, as a team themselves. Yeah, I think is a good decision. Fred VanVleet brought this up the other night with the Raptors, and I think the players realize that they do have player power, and they have stature. They have status in the world. LeBron James is more than just a basketball player, and you really don't have to spend a whole lot of time around the game to know that nowadays. His presence is everywhere, and he's involved in foundations, and he started a bunch of stuff. So he's an influential black leader, and I think this is what it's going to take. What do you think about this boycott? What do you think about it moving forward? Should they stop playing for the foreseeable future? Give me your take.
Well, and Aaron, thanks for that intro, because you're absolutely right. I mean, dude, it's this word is going to get overused in 2020, unprecedented. Mm-hmm. It is unprecedented to see something like this happen. Yes. First of all, I was reading today about Sterling Brown, the basketball player from Milwaukee that was tased back in 2018 or 2019.
Yeah.
The city of Milwaukee offered him $400,000 to shut up. I didn't realize this. I just read this today, and I'm like, holy cow. So, we look at it, and I'm not trying to make light of it, but what was it? Monty Python was right. It's the violence inherent in the system. Yeah. Come look at the violence inherent in the system, and it is the corruption, the violence that is inherent in our system that we have today. We started talking about this before we went on air, man, and I'm so glad that we stopped ourselves, because now I just want to dive back in it. The protests from the different leagues, the NBA, the ML, Major League Baseball, which obviously the Brewers, and Aaron, you're right. The Reds and Major League Baseball could have raised all kind of hell about it, but they didn't. They were like, no, let's do this thing. So I'm very proud of my Redlegs. The WNBA comes out and says, you know what, we stand in solidarity with the NBA. I think what this is going to do, man, is this is going to cause us to have truly that national conversation, because now there's nothing really else, for the average middle-aged white guy sitting out there waiting for sports to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Sports is now bringing it straight to your face and saying, we're not going to play because this is bullshit. And we need to not only have this conversation, but we need to take this conversation to the point where things change. Guys like LeBron, Giannis, everybody else who's doing it, Steve Kerr, those guys who are bringing it to the forefront and saying, we have to do something. Doc Rivers, you just got to say, Doc Rivers, how many times does Doc Rivers have to get up and make some type of, speech like this? I mean, I think that's where I'm at. And as an African-American man, that's where I'm at. I'm like, how many times, because we talked about this last night, what else is there for us to say?
Yeah.
I'm like, what else is there for us to say? The compliance argument is so antiquated at this point. It is so riddled full of holes, because you cannot tell me that compliance, if I comply with somebody, then I'm going to be okay. You can't say that.
No.
You can't say that.
We've got too many just videos nowadays. I mean, people have always said it before. I wasn't doing anything, and of course, that's going to get argued today. But
now we see it.
Video shows, the video we looked at last night. There's a man who's asked to stop on the street. He stops, puts his hand above his head, and absolutely stands still. He's very clearly trying not to get injured. And the police officer or sheriff walks up behind him and actually takes steps back to get a running jump at him to try to knock him down. And I think the cop is then even more shocked that he didn't knock the dude down. So now he's like, that's non-compliance. They start whipping his ass. And to me, we've got videos of white people in America acting ridiculous in the face of this nonsense, waving around knives, being aggressive. They don't get shot. The kid last night shot someone in the middle of the street. At a minimum, you have to realize you have to take the student into custody, and was allowed to walk free. Dylan Roof, we have all these examples. Then throw in examples from around the world, England, Australia. I've seen in the Middle East even, which you wouldn't expect it, but based on, cultural stereotype, but ways of, de-escalating situations. Guys waving a guy in England is waving around a saber. Dude. He's clearly out of his skull, and they surround him with riot shields and put him down. And to me, it tells me that maybe it's an American mentality that Americans, and again, when I say that, when the viewpoint of America is the viewpoint of white American males and their abiding wives, as we've seen in the Republican convention, is that they're okay with it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the fact is that we see, like you said, we see all around the world the indictment that is now on the American way of life, the American system that we've grown up into. I asked my students this week, this first week class, I flat out asked them, I said, hey, do we really have a broken system? And to the last one of them, they're like, yeah, it's broken. It's broken. I'm like, no, it's not. This shit ain't broken. It's doing exactly what it was made to do. I mean, it's doing it. And the fact is that now we are at a point where we're sick of it. We're tired of it. I mean, you look at, like I said, you look at things that are happening now. I mean, how much more can we expose police brutality?
Right.
How much more can we expose that? And here's the thing. I have dear friends who are police officers, man. Dear friends who are police officers. I'm asking them to step up.
Yeah.
I'm asking them to step up, speak out. Now, I know what's going to happen. We all know what's going to happen is that they're going to be blackballed and they're going to be put on beats that they don't want to be put on, or nor should they ever be on. But what that's going to do is start to expose the chinks in the armor that the FOP has.
Yeah.
It's basically a help us help you type thing. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like once people see, wow, that's a good cop. Why the hell did he get put on this beat, or why the hell did she get put on leave when all she did was to point out something wrong? When enough of that happens,
Yeah.
things will change, because look at what's happening now. I mean, you look at that, and then you look at education. Don't get me started on education, man. I mean, because the fact is that, you know, and we talk about this, we're all trying to figure this out. School systems, all of us, higher ed, K-12, were thrust into this abyss whenever it came to March in COVID.
Yeah.
But the deal is this, is that if we are not trying to keep our families first, and if our legislators and if our school systems are not trying to alleviate the pressure on teachers that they have to teach to a freaking test, and actually educate kids and allow them to be educated at a pace that is normal, to shove a kid home with 30 homework assignments due in one friggin' week is asinine. Because you've got to think, first of all, this kid is out of their element. They're not in a regular school element. So they've got that extra stress on them. Why would you try and put that extra stress on them just to get them to learn toward a test? That doesn't make sense to me. And like I said, I am not, guys, listen, I am all for educators because I are one, okay? I'm all for them. But the fact is that, damn, people, we've got to get off our teachers' nuts and allow them to actually educate children rather than teaching robots towards a test. And I'm running on that platform, and I approve this message.
No, you're
damn, man. I'm sorry. I get
no, you're absolutely right. Because here's the thing: once you start talking about it, you realize how intertwined everything is. You know, you talk about an act of police violence, and then there is a response, and then there is a response to that response, and that begins escalating other things. So now we're at a point where these athletes have made a decision to do this, but now we're also talking about the fact that if you want to get at the systemic aspect of it, you have to begin looking at how the police work, how police unions work, fraternal order of police, how teaching works, how education works, how to be fair, how teachers unions work, how all of these things are intertwined. And it's kind of I guess a lucky coincidence to have this discussion at the same time. We got last week a vision of where a certain group of people thinks America is and where it can go. And we're getting another viewpoint. And to me, the main difference is because there are passionate advocates on the opposite side of us, maybe doing this exact thing right here. And while I find it difficult to respect that point of view anymore, I miss respecting my political opposition's viewpoint.
Absolutely.
I miss finding value in it, but simply believing that made me have to come up with a more superior position. Right now, all I have to apparently not do.
Republicans.
Right.
I want to talk to them. I want to.
It seems like right now all I have to do is just not kill somebody.
Yep.
And
right.
That's a pretty fucking low bar to me, because while I openly question some of the aspects of a moderate Biden, Kamala Harris platform,
that's fair.
We're going in such a bad direction. You know, it is rare that the country is on all facets going so spectacularly one way or another. You know, I mean, we've seen, rare moments of incredible prosperity and everything seems to be booming. I think a lot of people would remember think the early to mid 90s with the tech boom and a lot, and maybe the mid 80s before the Wall Street crash and things like that. But, culture was booming. There was the fervent politics and things like that. I don't know. There's always going to be criticism. My point is, I don't recall it ever being in the shit like this.
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah.
child in the late 70s when we were, having to ration gas and the economy was in the shitter like that.
Yeah.
But we're at a really, really strange time right now. And at least from what I can tell, the Democratic viewpoint is to be hopeful and believe in the best of us and try to eschew this embracing of the worst of us, our worst angels, if you will, over the
Yeah.
last few years, and to say, no, there's a better way and come along with us versus I don't see how somebody supports this and can't honestly say it's divisive. It isn't meant for you. You're not coming along with us. If you don't get on board with us, fuck you, and we don't care what happens to you. You can go rot in Detroit if you want to. I firmly believe that.
Right now, America is the Hugh Jackson Cleveland Browns. We really are. I mean, I'm a Cleveland Brown fan, dude, and I know I brought a smile to your face. We are the Hugh Jackson Cleveland Browns. Like, literally, we have the makings of a pretty decent team, but we have allowed this nation to go into the shitter. And the fact is that we have a leader. And once again, I think this ship has sailed, Aaron. I don't think you're going to be angry at me for saying this bullshit, but we have a leader that literally sucks. I mean, I don't know I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of a really technical phrase to use, but I can't. He sucks. Like, he sucks as a president. He just does. He can't. And maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way. Like, I've went through the 5 levels of loss. I've went through them. The 5, all of them. Denial, anger, acceptance, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally at a point now to where I'm like, I really feel like we're in a different kind of dimension. Like, I'm like, what happened to the real world? Like, we don't have an accurate picture of the real world anymore when we have a president like this. And
there's not a shared reality right now. It's very difficult to find middle ground when you can't even find ground to stand on with one another, when you can't acknowledge certain basic aspects of things going on. And I think one part of this is that when the pendulum swings back and forth and it swings hard away from somebody, and you can't understand why. As far as I'm concerned, we enjoyed 8 really good years of prosperity as a country under Obama. Some things could have been better. I freely admit that, but we were in no way heading down some really terrible path. Things were bad for certain groups of people, and we need to do more to address that. But we did not need to make this catastrophic change of course right now. And I think there are simple things that can be done, but a certain group of people have to get on board with this notion. And what happens is, once you're left with all this time to think about it, you start going back to your notes and rethinking your ideas and rewording those ideas. And I think right now the sort of progressive zeitgeist is floating around a lot of buzzwords right now that, while I think they're a lot more accurate than they have been in the past, are flummoxing the right-wing mindset. And therefore it's really, really difficult to have a conversation when you don't have a shared vocabulary. And when one group sets out specifically to denigrate the other versus trying to find any sort of middle ground, it's really difficult to find it. Go ahead.
So real quick, shout out Jake, Gia, Chris, Kyla, Roger, all the rest of you guys. Thank you for watching. Gia said that kid is 17. I'm thinking she's talking about the young man who went around shooting protesters last night. She goes, and I blame the adults that created this environment. Absolutely. The people that put up the Facebook post calling for armed men to come and defend their city need to be held responsible. 17, he's still in high school. Absolutely. Michelle, hey, Wellman, good to see you. Thanks for watching. Roger says that he's doing bedtime routine. That's what good dads do, Roger. That's what good dads. Which, by the way, man, your beard game has inspired my beard game. Same. He said, just dropped by to say that I'm pissed. I'm pissed about these constant attacks on black and brown bodies. I'm pissed at these constant attacks on the poor and disadvantaged. I'm pissed at the constant attacks on our children and students. Hope and change can get wrecked at this point. Democrats need to bring more than platitudes. I cannot agree with you more. You know, while, you know, Aaron, you said it, while, you know, Biden and Harris are the better of the two, my hope is that they at least start to turn the Titanic a little bit. I'm not putting my hopes and dreams on a Biden Harris ticket. I think that they at least can start to shift a little bit us back to what we, you know, to what we, I think, dream about America being. But, you know, I'm just like, and so Gia gives us some words for the words I was looking for: incompetent, Twilight Zone. Yeah, this skilled teacher's giving you the words, Evan. Yeah, there you go. Dave's watching. So yeah, I mean, there's so much frustration around this, man, and it's not, and I hate using that whole argument like, oh, it's the lesser of two evils, because I don't think Biden and Harris are evil. I'm going to reserve my, you know, I'm going to reserve my thoughts about the other ticket, but I don't think they're evil. I just think we've gone so far. Like you said, the pendulum has swung so far that if we don't go back incrementally, we're going to be just as screwed. You know, it'll just keep going like this. And so this is why I'm like, we need people, and I'm going to say it, we need people like Bernie. We need people like Elizabeth Warren. We need Pete Buttigieg. We need those guys to come in and to actually help turn this ship for us. Can you imagine the Avengers team that he would have in his cabinet if Biden and Harris won? I mean, it would be amazing. All these people who actually believe science, you know, I mean, why can I not hear you? Uh-oh. Oh no, Aaron, I can't hear you. What's going on? No, I can't hear you. Uh-oh. You know what? While you're doing that, we are actually at halftime. Yep, lost Aaron for audio. Oh no. So guys, as Aaron's figuring this out, okay, I am going to grab. No, not yet, man. Can't hear you.
This is weird. I hear me.
Oh, I can barely hear you. I don't know if
Hear me.
like I can hear you just a little bit.
Hello? Hello?
Turn it up. Do you have a short and a cord somewhere or something like that? Oh no. You might have to go computer audio. Wow, I don't know why I went English there or British. But anyway, um while he's figuring it out. Nope, wait. Okay. Okay. Can I just sip? Can I sip? Maybe sip. There you go.
Hello?
Um Hey,
Hello?
that's better. Yeah.
All right. Let me do this then.
What happened?
Hello?
Yeah, you're there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you-
we can now, man.
Cool.
Can you hear me now?
Yay! All right, we're back there.
Okay, yeah, okay. Good. Good. Okay, we're back. We're back.
Strange.
It's man.
Yeah.
It's that night.
One thing I was going to say is I think it would be absolutely unrealistic for people to think that Biden and Harris would be, going to create tectonic shifts or anything like that.
Yeah.
You need to view this in terms of, what actually happened. Like I said, I think we enjoyed 8 years of prosperity under Obama. Some things could have been better, but we did not need this type of drastic change in things. We needed to improve some things, but I believe we are on a better track. I think Hillary Clinton would not have carried forward very many progressive ideas, but we would not be worse off than we are right now.
Oh my God, no.
I think we'd certainly have dealt with the coronavirus a lot better, just from the standpoint of she would have believed in the science and would have probably been willing to take drastic measures for a short period to get us on the right track. I think economically we were doing fine, and nothing she was proposing was really going to harm that. I don't think we would have gotten into trade wars. I don't think we would have had any more booming economy, but I don't think we would have gone in the shitter. So I think those things would have been better.
Yeah.
But
right.
So right now we could be talking about whether or not we would want to be reelecting Hillary Clinton. And it would be legitimate to say that I think many of us as Democrats wouldn't necessarily want that, because we're looking for a different type of progress. And that while I don't, as much as I want everything all at once, politically that is unrealistic. That's not how the world works. Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden are incrementalists to a fault. There's some hope that Kamala will be progressive and help pull him to the left, but let's face it, she's a tried and true law and order type of person too.
Sure.
I think she might bring a lot more help when it comes to law enforcement reform around the Black community, and I would like to see that.
Hopefully,
but
hopefully.
What we're hoping is that this sets up a Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, I don't know, maybe Pete Buttigieg, Cory Booker 2024 run. This type of conversation probably scares the living shit out of people who are watching the RNC right now, or would normally be watching Fox News. And to that, I can say, we're not coming for you. And I'm hearing you're coming for me at the RNC. That's the type of shit I'm hearing. And if you're not necessarily coming for me because of this, you're coming for him. And I'm not a fan of fucking that either. So I want more. I want Biden and Kamala to do more, but I don't expect them to do. I expect them to probably undo a lot of shit, get us back into the Paris Climate Accord, get us back on better footing with the European Union, get us on better footing as a world leader, shit like that, and hopefully address education. Biden's always had a soft spot for that. I'd like to think
Dr. Biden.
He'll
Dr. Jill.
I'd like to think he'll surround himself with incredibly smart people and put efforts behind a variety of things. I think he views poverty for what it is, and it's something that we could stamp out and get damn near to less than 1% in this country. There's always going to be some poverty, but we can be working at getting rid of it. And so I think they'll do good at that. I'm not this is the lesser of two evils kind of thing. I would vote for them. They're just not my first choice. Exactly. But in this election, there's just no question to me. I mean, we're literally harming ourselves every day we leave this man in charge.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, on that, let's raise our glasses.
Indeed.
You know what? I can't believe we've gone this far, my friend, and we have not toasted you. You are a fabulous host, my friend. You're one of my dear friends. Buddy, this one's for you. And I am drinking Fireball tonight just for you, my friend. So
right on. Well, Sláinte to the Fireball. I love you, my friend. Thank you for those kind words.
Sláinte.
Love you out there.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna love
it's syrup.
It is.
It's syrup.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the kind of stuff that you found in your grandparents' freezer. Ooh. And it was like it never went down because they did like one shot a year when they got like a chest cold.
The Rumple Mints. There you go. The Rumple Mints, man. Yeah.
We found that on my like childhood friend's freezer. His parents had it, and we're like, "What the hell is this?" And when you're a kid, it is cough syrup. I think it was either Jaeger or something like it, and that was absolutely disgusting. It's not great now, but I've learned to love it.
Hey guys, if you can, put in the comments, what did you guys just take a shot of, or did you take a shot of something? Because you know what, we want to know what you're drinking too. So let's move on. Let's move on to a different topic, my friend. Let's talk about what's happening at the RNC this week. Let's kind of dive into that, shall we? Stark contrast. There couldn't be two parties at total opposite ends as we have today in 2020 with Republicans and Democrats. Man, what sticks out to you from what you've heard? I don't know if you turned it on or what. I'm a glutton for punishment. I've turned it on a couple of times the past couple nights. I just couldn't watch very much. But what stuck out to you, man? What stuck out to you?
It stuck out to me that no one speaking at the DNC appeared to have snorted several lines of cocaine before they went on stage.
Junior.
On a less comical point, I think the real contrast is that, certain people spoke and pointed out the very real, very accurate danger and damage that's being done right now by a Trump presidency. And I guess I'll go back and forth, juxtapose that with, these ads that are going on and the speaking at the RNC talking about things that are going on right now in Portland and, Wisconsin and around the country, and talking about it as if it's going to happen under Biden and that it's not happening under Trump right now.
Right.
That's a strange juxtaposition. I thought there was a much balancing out the need to say, look, this guy's doing damage to the country. I think there was a lot of talk about what we can do to move forward as a nation. And to be honest, I watched the first night for the most part, a little bit of the second night, and none of the third and fourth night. I basically watched them after the fact. I got highlights, went on to all the major news. BBC, Fox, MSNBC. I let them all tell me what their take on the night is. I read the transcript and I'm like, okay, I think Biden struck a decent tone. The man is a whole lot better, I think, giving a stump speech than he is trying to give something like he gave the other night. But Joe Biden could probably go back to stuttering as bad as he did in the 5th grade, and I would still think his speech is 1,000 times better than anything Donald Trump does, because it's just incoherent madness. And if basically the bar was that Biden got through his speech, then he did. Did Trump? I don't even know. Who knows where a sentence ends and another begins?
Yeah.
Melania was competent. I don't think anybody is
robotic.
Yeah, but that's how she speaks. I mean, she's not a charismatic speaker. That's not who she is. And
we must be best.
I have up to about right here, I have a certain amount of sympathy for her. She never in her wildest dreams wanted to be a first lady for Donald Trump in a Donald Trump presidency. This woman
wanted to be first lady for Justin Trudeau, obviously.
This woman saw the dollar signs. This woman saw the dollar signs, took advantage of it, got her family over here because of it, has a child so she can not be deported. She'll probably file for divorce once she finds out who he's sleeping with next. And she'll walk away with millions. But she's complicit. She's complicit in all this now. Whether she wanted to be here or not, she is, just like everybody else who stuck around thinking it was going to be good for them. And if there is any sort of justice and karma in the world, then those people will burn in some sort of faux journalistic hell, lying to themselves at Fox News every night of the week.
It'll look like a Hieronymus Bosch painting. That's exactly what it'll look like.
What was the New Yorker this week? That was a cartoon, and it was Donald Trump saying, "Okay, here's everybody's exit plan," and it was the exit door said Fox News on it. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Kellyanne Conway will have her own talk show in a matter of weeks. I guarantee it. Oh my God.
Her and her husband and their daughter have all stepped away from social media because of all that. That's been kind of, to be fair, fun to watch. I mean,
yeah, it has. Absolutely.
You're going to set your shit on the doorstep of America, then I'm going to set it on fire for you.
So.
That was a really strange analogy.
Next topic. How are you feeling about good old Jerry Falwell Jr., my friend?
I'm pretty pissed off that he's going to walk away with $10 million.
$10 million bucks.
Where's my contract that says if I fuck up everything about my job and make my company look completely terrible with my actions, when my company's image is predicated on being squeaky clean and not fucking the pool boy, or watching the
or
pool
a poodle.
Boy, yeah. It's just, this stuff is crazy to me. And this is the thing, when they talk about not understanding the regular person, this is that. Because I even know people who have $1 million in the bank, right? Had a good small business, they're doing fine for themselves. They're not wealthy people, right? That does, you know, just because you got $1 million, it's nice, and you can take care of some things, but that ain't enough to live on for the rest of your life right now. It truly isn't. And that's different than somebody who gets fired from their job and gets a $10 million severance. That's a whole other level of living, man. That's that 5% to 1% kind of shit that none of us really have any idea about, and it's garbage. And we think that's okay. Come on.
I am wondering where's all, and maybe I have not been on, I don't know, but has there been any outrage and uproar from any, pastor, church folk?
Oh, heavens, no, Evan.
People who know who Jesus is, or even people that follow white Jesus. I'm just saying, it's like, look, even people that follow white Jesus, do you say anything to this man? No. Like, okay, but you still don't believe Obama's a citizen, right? Is that it? That's how it goes.
Obama's not a Christian. Him going to that church for 40 years doesn't mean anything.
It baffles and boggles my mind, man. And the fact that if people continue to legitimize the American church, and I'm going to rail on it for 2 seconds, I promise. If people continue to legitimize the American church and don't see it for the money-making machine that it is, then you are blind, you are lemmings, you're sheep. You are the very thing that you're calling us. I don't get it. It's one thing to be a spiritual person. It's one thing to believe in a man who, showed the way as far as showing how to treat people, how to, stand up and advocate for people, how to say, no, this isn't right. You shouldn't be stealing money from people, turning over tables, whipping the shit out of people who are, taking money from people. It's one thing to be a spiritual person. It's another thing to be a religious person that knowingly stays in an organization that is made for nothing else than for people to sit in and make money out of. I don't understand it. We can talk about it. We can talk about it some other time, man, but I have seen things that would shock you.
I want to ask you this question. When you say the American church, do you equate that with evangelicalism?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, I should say the Americanized church, because it's not just here in America.
Right.
Like this shit happens
but we're speaking
all around
about
the world. But yes, evangelicalism. Yes.
And the prosperity gospel that they largely buy into now.
Yes, absolutely. It's all about, and Jesus says it, it's the prosperity movement. And we, bringing it full circle, I've been on staffs that was the cliche pastor driving around in a nice truck in a nice car, and there's the little old lady coming in who's on Social Security, giving her 10%. And I'm like, okay, there's a point to where you should honor her, yes, but there's a point after that to where you should stop it. It's one thing to say, look at her, she's giving her 10%. Yeah, that's great. That's exactly what she should be doing. And she's doing that under her own guise, under her own, purpose. And I'm like, is she? Are you guilting this woman by using this book that was put together by men with an agenda? I'm still saying it. I'm sorry. It was. Council of Trent, Council of Worms. You guys don't know what that is? Go check it out. It's not like it was handed down, by God. These men in a room sat there and said, yep, this, nope, this book doesn't. And most of the books that they threw out were either written or were about women. They gave Esther and Ruth, they're like, okay, let's keep a couple that basically serve our purpose. But they went in a room and did that. And now we have a religion that is totally not what it's supposed to be. That's something that is robbing people of their own thoughts, of their own minds. And people are buying this shit. And quite frankly, this is my, Aaron, this is kind of my thing. Dude, I will sit and talk with anybody about religion because I know the damage that it's probably already done to that person.
Don't you think that sort of, I mean, in a lot of ways, this feels like the culmination of so many things. The fact that not only is evangelicalism as powerful as it is right now, but it's ostensibly a Christian organization that has now heralded as its leader Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And to me, that kind of says everything about it, and really about where your values lie. And I'm not a religious person. I'll do the cliche. I'm spiritual. I'm into philosophy, and I believe there's a lot to be gleaned from, great books from around the world, and the Bible is one of them for sure. But
sure.
This seems like the logical outcome of the marriage of right-wing politics beginning in the early 60s and a well-heeled, well-oiled Christian evangelical machine that really rose to prominence under Reagan, I think. And
mm-hmm.
I don't think Bush showed as much fealty to them as they expected. So there was a bit of a break, and now somehow, I wonder if that is what ultimately hurt Romney. That being a Mormon, he couldn't rally the normal,
sure.
Wealthy Christian support that he would have otherwise, because
sure.
they weren't going to adhere to the evangelical message. Whereas, Trump is obviously just for sale and will say whatever it takes to reinforce their power, because it's Christianity with power is what it is.
Something we have to take in consideration, man. Our next guest is going to have to be Gia, because she tells a heartbreaking but true story of what evangelicalism does to women. It is severely and detrimentally patriarchal in its ways, and it still is. It's and this is, once again, in studying and knowing what the Bible and the Quran and other works of religion in the world say. It's amazing to me that when you look at the life of Jesus, he's constantly defending women.
Mm-hmm.
He's constantly he's not taking care of them, he's caring for them,
defending the type of women that are most often ridiculed today.
Exactly. And what we have today is we have American Christianity, evangelicalism, that totally shits on women. Mm-hmm. And Gia, you tell Grace, I mean, this is it's heartbreaking. But real quick, Kyla says this. She says, Christian nationalism, scary stuff. 45 supporters follow it, at least those I know, and accurately describes where we are now. Absolutely. Absolutely. Finally, 60s, it went haywire when they built their platform on segregation. Yep. Damn, the name of the university, pastor, is slipping my mind, but that's where it started and flipped to abortion. So immediately, they just started to attack those things that they could make look heinous. You look at, just for example, you look at Bush Sr. Dukakis had him beat up until 2 months. And then they released that Willie Horton ad.
Yeah.
where Willie Horton was released from jail and then raped this beautiful white woman. And he was a black man, and they blew his face up into the camera, and Dukakis lost. He lost. This is what the unfortunately, this is what the Republican Party recently has resorted to, and now they've gone over the edge, because by allowing this person to stand there with a Bible, all awkward and shit, and then profess that, you know, evangelicalism is on the side of the right, which they are, it's a lost cause.
The Republican Party does not exist anymore.
No.
It is the party of Trump. They'll probably change their logo to just big orange hair instead of an elephant.
Or a golf club.
They don't even have a platform. There is no Republican Party platform. It is just whatever he says at this point. I read that they actually shunned having any new platform at all, to the point that the materials they began using at first referred to things like the problem is under the current president, because they were referring to Obama. So they had to go back through, because it sounded like they were shitting on themselves, which of course they are.
Yeah,
but
right.
There is no Republican Party anymore. You are voting for Trump, and that is it. And if you have any other viewpoints, and here's what sucks, is I got friends who are lifelong conservative and Republicans, and they're voting for Biden with the hopes that they get a real candidate in 2024. They don't want Joe Biden policies, but they realize that the path we're currently on is so monumentally bad for this country that it's self-evident. And I still don't understand people who are like, oh, he's doing great things. I don't understand. Look,
I can't get it.
The most that's been accomplished under these few years has been that the power of the Republicans has been such that they've been able to stack the courts. That is it.
Yeah.
There are no policies that Donald Trump has implemented that in any way have benefited the layperson. They have benefited cronies, they've benefited the wealthy, and that is it. They've benefited a few businesses along the way, but at the exact same time, those same businesses have been hurt as much, if not worse. And if you aren't one of the 10% of Americans who own stock, then the booming stock market doesn't do shit for you. 30 million people are unemployed right now.
I don't understand if you're a farmer and you still vote for this guy. I don't understand that, because the trade shit show that not only happened but is going to happen if we have another 4 years, you might as well. I mean, how can I don't understand? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm not. You know, it's not computing or whatever. But I don't understand how you vote for this guy if you have any type of small business.
Right.
I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand.
He's really turned his back on small business throughout this entire thing.
Oh yeah, I don't get it. So here's what we're going to do. Let's lighten the mood.
All righty,
guys. It's my favorite time of the night. It is Hey Aaron time, and this is an interactive Hey Aaron. So these questions are not just for Aaron, but I'm going to be watching your guys' responses on the Facebooks. You see what I did there? The YouTubes, the Facebooks. Okay, anyway. All right. Let me take another drink of beer. Here we go.
Do it.
So these are critical thinking questions. Okay. And if you guys have been drinking with us, which I'm also willing to bet, Aaron, if I know you, my friend, you have been pre-gaming like I have. You're going to have to think critically about these bad boys. Okay.
Right.
So here we go. And Aaron, I would ask, because I know how, quick you are and things like that. I'm going to ask for like a 10 to 15 second kind of wait.
Okay.
And then give your answer. Let our audience kind of weigh in a little bit here. So here we go. First question. Does England have a 4th of July? Does England have a 4th of July? What say you, people? Does England have a 4th of July? Aaron, what say you?
Yes, every year comes after the 3rd of July.
Okay, very good. Very good. See, we start out easy. We start out easy, not a problem. We start out real easy. Yes, I did not say celebrate. England does have a 4th of July every single stinking year. All right, number 2. It's on July 4th. Yeah, good job, Jake. Excellent. Jake's on it. Jake's on it. Very good. Number 2. If you only had one match and entered a room where there was a lamp, an oil heater, and some kindling wood, which would you light first? If you only had one match and entered a room where there's a lamp, an oil heater, and some kindling wood, which one would you light first? I know you know this because you got that shitty ass smile on your face. All right, Aaron, what do you think?
Well, you'd light the match first, Evan.
Yeah, there you go. The match. You would like the match first, ladies and gentle peoples. The match. See, you got it right there. What is it? Modern problems require modern solutions. There you go. Awesome. Number 3. A woman gave a beggar 50 cents. The woman is the beggar's sister, but the beggar is not the woman's brother. Why? Let me repeat it. A woman gave a beggar 50 cents. The woman is not the beggar's sister. I'm sorry, the woman is the beggar's sister, but the beggar is not the woman's brother. Why? Don't say I suck. I'm just reading them. I'm the messenger. I'm just saying. Once again, and after I read it, Aaron, give your answer. A woman gave a beggar 50 cents. The woman is the beggar's sister, but the beggar is not the woman's brother. Why?
Sister.
It's her sister. Exactly. Jake is on this. Gia says, oil lamp? I don't know. That's awesome. All right. Next question. Is it legal in North Carolina for a man to marry his widow's sister? Is it legal in North Carolina for a man to marry his widow's sister? You've got this. Go ahead, Aaron.
It's North Carolina, so some crazy shit could happen, but unless they're down with necrophilia, no. I don't think that's allowed.
Exactly. Right. So, guys, man cannot marry his widow's sister because said man would be deceased. Very good, Roger. Here's to you, my friend, with all the beard game in the world. Very good. All right, next. A rooster is sitting on the peak of a roof and lays an egg. Which way does the egg roll? To the right or to the left? Okay. Rooster sitting on the peak of a roof, and lays an egg. Which way does the egg roll? To the right? Whoops, sorry, I'm on stage. To the right or to the left? Gee, you all suck. Good job, Roger. Don't read. Come on, Aaron, come with it. You know.
If a rooster lays an egg, there's bigger issues going on than which direction.
Good job, man. Good job. Awesome. All right. A garden had exactly 50 different kinds of flowers, including 10 kinds of roses, 3 kinds of sweet peas, 2 kinds of asylum. Have no idea what that is, but oh well. 5 kinds of carnations, 3 kinds of zinnias, 8 kinds of poppies, 4 kinds of snapdragons, 5 kinds of gladioli, and 6 kinds of phlox. How many different kinds of flowers did the garden have? Shall I read that one again? Okay. A garden had exactly 50 different kinds of flowers, including 10 kinds of roses, 3 kinds of sweet peas, 2 kinds of asalum, whatever, 5 kinds of carnations, 3 kinds of zinnias, 8 kinds of poppies, 4 kinds of snapdragons, 5 kinds of gladioli, 6 kinds of phlox, and a partridge in a pear tree. How many different kinds of flowers did the garden have? Aaron.
50.
Yeah, there you go. See, there you go. Okay. So none of this was a challenge for
Could
anybody.
have just left out everything in the middle there. The first sentence
Whitney,
told you the
yeah,
answer.
I know. It just did it. Yeah. Gladiolus. Gladiolus. I'm from southeastern Ohio, Gia. I pronounce
Well,
things
you said
weird.
gladiola. I would imagine they think that, like, that's octopus and octopi.
Oh,
Gladiolus. You said gladioli.
did my education get in the way? I should have just went with my gut and said gladiolus. Okay, I pronounced it wrong.
They focused a lot on grammar at Cincinnati Bible College.
Oh no, we focused on how not to win soccer matches on Cincinnati Bible College. That's awesome. I refuse to answer if you can't pronounce it correctly. Awesome. Hey guys, listen. What a great discussion tonight. Glad you guys joined us. Aaron, please take us out with your final thoughts. Wow, final thoughts. Are you now Jerry Springer? What the hell? Does that make me Steve Wilkos? Can I be Steve?
I'm not writing a check to any prostitutes.
Okay, there you go. Aaron, take us out.
You know, it's interesting what we started this show about initially. But the truth is you and I have always talked about these types of issues, but I think it's been interesting that they've been so prominent during this time period. And this has given me an opportunity, and I hope the fact that we do this gives other people an opportunity to flesh out their thoughts. You know, I come away from this some nights going, you know, I'm not sure I said that exact the way I meant it, or even after the fact think, you know, I'm second guessing that a little bit, but it's making me think. But it reminds me that you and I do this anyway. We did it last night. We do it when we just happen to chat. We're always talking about what's going on. You know, sometimes it's as simple as whether the relief pitching for the Cincinnati Reds is enough. But you can't avoid.
Not, by the way.
No, it's not. You can't avoid these things that are going on in the world. And I hope that this is an opportunity to share those thoughts, bounce those thoughts, know that there's people out there in solidarity. Even if you don't always agree with this, that would actually be the best thing for you to come away and be like, I don't agree with these two guys, but I know they don't mean me any harm. They actually want a better world for all of us. And there's a conversation taking place as to how we get there. But I also think there's an awful lot of people here who, you know, we're resonating with them and they're resonating with us. I love that we have this interaction and get to hear back from everybody. And, you know, I hope we are building change. I'm tired of seeing this kind of stuff, and I can't imagine how sick and tired you're of seeing it, and your parents and your parents' parents of seeing this same shit go on in our society and not fulfilling a promise of what is at times a great experiment.
Hey, I don't mean to like cut you out, but my parents made the USA Today last week, man. And I read cool. that, and you know, it was really cool, but it kind of struck a chord, and you know, it really made it real what's happening, because you know, my parents are those people that if something gets fucked up with the US Postal Service, they're screwed. I mean, they really are. And you know, am I trying to fuel any like conspiracy theories or anything? No. I mean, is he trying to totally do away with? No, I don't think he's trying to totally do away with the USPS. But when our president comes out and verbally says that, yeah, it's probably going to delay some things.
Yep.
and when he's doing it purposefully. Because you do things purposefully, and you come out and you say, yeah, something like that. Yeah, I mean, that's the intent you have. You're doing it personally.
Yeah. It's blatant.
It's blatant, and now you're messing with my family. It's like it's weird. It made it incredibly real. Like it wasn't that it wasn't real before.
No, I know what you mean.
But I'm like, Bill and Carolyn Casey are some of the coolest, salt of the earth people that you would ever want to meet. Just like I'm sure you could name off all them people, like the whole shirt off the back, they give you anything that they had, all that stuff. And it's just wrong that we live in an America that would totally take a dump on people like that just for political gain.
Just for that type of political gain. And
exactly.
I'm torn with thinking this is the worst it's ever been, or that this is just more of the same. Because a big part of me thinks, you know, when the racial issues and stuff like that, this is just who we are. We're just catching it on film now.
Yeah.
But I can't recall a period in history where it was this blatant. And, you know, maybe it was, maybe there were times, and it can't be conveyed to the same level that I'm feeling it right now. But
it would be hard to convince. Yeah, it would be hard to convince someone like Mamie Hill or Mamie Till to agree with that. You know, I mean, but this is a time I think that we still have an opportunity to, to at least set things in motion to make things right. I think we can get there. I really do. I think we can get there by doing stuff like this, having folks, tune in to watch two guys drink beer and, talk about some shit, but some good shit, for an hour. And, it's just, I'm really, really humbled by that, man. And just, I'm happy to share this time with you. I need it.
Well, and we've both talked about the fact that, there have been times where we've sat there at that bar with people who we don't agree with and found common ground. And it's sad that that's not happening right now. But I'd like to think doing things like this, I'm still putting myself out there. You're putting yourself out there. I'm available. It saddens me that that's the struggle right now is finding any sort of, to me, when one side extends an olive branch, the other is far too willing to set it on fire and, and fan flames rather than say, okay, thank you. Let's meet, let's talk, let's figure out how we can be the best we can be for everybody in this country and live up to the ideals of it. And that's what I'm going to continue doing. And hopefully we convince other people to get on that journey. So with that, my friend, power of the people, I love you.
Love you, man.
I'm anxious to see what happens with this NBA thing in the next couple of days. It would be interesting if the MLB and NFL and MLS and everybody said, hey, maybe it's time for us to do the same. So,
yep. Yes,
everybody, thank you for tuning in. We love you out there, and be safe.
Yep, absolutely, guys. Hey, take care. We love you. Bye.